What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
What's
Good
up?
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. And we are here with episode 22 of the Darion Hopkins Show. And I am your host, Darion of the Darion Hopkins Show. And I'm kind of happy that some things came down the pipeline this morning. And we have a lot to talk about. It's going to be mainly NBA today because the Western Conference Final starts today. And I'm not going to waste the hour in almost the whole damn show on the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to make the predictions and move on. And I hope when you come in here, you see that. I hope when you come in here, you see that, brother. Hope you come in here and see that. But we got got my one of the three co-hosts that's in here, Mr. Mac himself.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Just got done doing some flooring.
See, listen, he out there working with us at the same time. Y'all see it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Y'all see it.
I
But
am saddened. I'm saddened by the news of Doc Rivers. Like I said, I mean, uh, unless Philadelphia is doing a full court, blitz trying to keep Harden, I don't see why they got rid of Doc Rivers. And I
and,
mean,
and
like I
and
said,
we're gonna get into that because I really have something to say as well about what happened with the whole situation and how Doc Rivers got fired. I'm not really too pleased with it, to be honest. But this show is definitely sponsored by SeatGeek and Bet Us. Just to let y'all know, if you want to go to SeatGeek and go to any basketball event, football event, any sports event that you want to go to, live concerts, anything of that nature, make sure you go to SeatGeek.com and use the promo code DHopkins and get $20 off your first purchase. And if you like to bet, which we will get into that in that point, but make sure y'all go check out betus.com as well. And I'll tell y'all all the special offers that does go to that. So I'm gonna just take the floor when it comes to this situation with Doc Rivers. And I'm gonna be completely honest. I understand why they fired Doc Rivers, but the way they fired Doc Rivers, and this is why I say that, is because the news came out yesterday about James Harden saying that he did not want to play for Doc. I think I put that in the group chat yesterday.
yes, you did.
And this morning, he gets fired. Now, I think James Harden had a lot to do with that because that news broke yesterday of him saying that I don't want to play for Doc. So technically, you're catering to what your players want, and you're not really catering to what's the real cancer for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, understand Doc Rivers, offense is a little stagnant because of James Harden. Understand that he has not won second rounds since he's been here, especially against Boston. Understanding that. But I just feel like this was a James Harden move and not an organization move. And
Absolutely.
that's exactly how I see it. Like Daryl Morey should be fired as well if Doc Rivers is going to be gone. That's just my personal opinion. If you're gonna
Absolutely. How do you
fire
not get rid of the GM?
if you're going to fire Doc Rivers, you fire Daryl Morey as well. Because you keeping Daryl Morey, we're going to look we're not going to look like the Philadelphia 76ers. They're going to look like the Philadelphia Rockets. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
And we're going to get a bunch of former Rockets players that wanted to play for James Harden, that played with James Harden back in those years. And now Doc Rivers is gone. Did I feel like he needed to be fired? To a certain extent, yes. But the way he got fired, no. I just feel like Harden had a big reasoning and why James Harden had a big reasoning than why Doc got fired.
Do you remember the first thing I said when we came on there after the 76ers, and I told you, what did Harden do with his closing interview? When they asked him about Doc Rivers, and he was like, we're okay, and didn't say anything. I told you then, I was like, they're either going to keep Doc Rivers or they're going to try to keep Harden, but there's no way they're going to be able to keep both. Like, it's just not going to happen. And unfortunately, like I said, 76ers are full of bad decisions, and this is just another one of those bad decisions. You're going to pick a player who didn't come to play versus get rid of the coach who tried to do everything he could to win, other than putting on some kind of shoes and trying to go out of the damn self. And that's where I don't like the decision. I think it's um just another reach. It's
The Sixers is full of reaches. Let's keep it.
like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, at some point, that organization needs to get it together and say, okay, this is our plan. This is what we're gonna do. But it seems like every year they just switch it up, and they can't stay consistent on a plan for more than a year or two. Because even the process, even through the process, look how many times they changed the actual personnel who would help Embiid. How long did you have Butler? You know what I mean? Like, that's a guy who should have been there for 5 or 6 seasons. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And the trades, and then, like I said, who's going to come in there and coach them? What coach is going to come in there and do a better job than Doc Rivers? Nobody. There's no coach out there walking around right now that's going to come in there and
I
make
don't know
them win a
about that. It's
championship
some it's
or
some
get
it's
to
some
the
qualif.
finals.
I don't know.
No, I don't
It's some
care.
qualified
I'm
coaches
telling
out
you,
there.
there is no coach out there that's going to take a James Harden 76er team and get to the finals or even the conference finals.
I
Or
mean, we haven't been here since 2001, so it really doesn't matter who's the damn coach at this point. If that's the case,
but I
if that's
mean,
the case,
exactly. So what coach out there is going to take a James Harden team?
but I feel like it's some strong candidates that's to me that has accomplished more than Doc Rivers when Doc Rivers as a Sixers coach. I wouldn't say they I wouldn't say they qualify, but what I say they more accomplished. I think it's
I
more
don't see any
accomplished.
coach.
You could go with the Mike Bodenholzer. You could go with a Nick Nurse. You could go with a strong candidate like Ed said in the chat in Becky Hammond. You could go with her as well,
Listen,
which is another
no
qualified
coach,
candidate that does
no
not get a
coach,
chance.
no coach worth his salt is going to deal with a James Harden.
Coach,
I'm telling you, nobody wants somebody to walk the ball up when everybody else plays a fast-paced game.
The issue with
He's a
Harden,
cancer. No coach, I'm telling you, no coach, no name coach is going to the 76ers.
the
None.
thing,
They're going to have to
Well,
go get
hold
they're
up,
going to have to
Ed.
go get a
Hold up, Mac.
coach
The only
that
way that
has no
happens, right?
shot of ever coaching any other team, but because the 76ers are going to be so desperate to find somebody that wants to work with Harden.
I know it is one coach out there they're going to search for, and Daryl Morey is right on point with it. And that's Dan what's his name? D'Antoni?
no.
That's gonna be the only guy. That's gonna be the
D'Antoni-
only guy that's going to want to coach James Harden.
The issue with coaching James Harden is that you need a coach that's not going to press him too hard as far as his fuck ups, as far as his shortcomings, his lack of effort. He needs a coach. He needs like a
Well, then you're not a coach. Then you're not a coach.
The only two coaches I can think of is D'Antoni and Scott Brooks. They're the only two dudes I can think of.
And to me, they're not even qualifiers to be a Sixers head coach, in my opinion. They shouldn't even be looked at.
I was just getting into an argument with a guy about who
realize
is
how dusty
for Doc being fired. I think it's James Harden. Like you say, James Harden can't be coached. He's one of these players that can't be coached hard. He doesn't want to be coached hard. He doesn't want to be coached and held accountable. So it's like, the press conference was telling the after game press conference. He said, "Be cool." Like what type of shit is that? Like, obviously, you see, there's a disconnect between the style that Doc is used to coaching. I've seen because the guys that he's coached, Chris Paul, Rondo, he's coached some hard-nosed, tough guys that give it all they got. You feel me? And now you got this other guard that just wants to stand around, dribble. He doesn't play defense. He can't be asked to play defense. He can't be convinced or coerced into playing defense. So it's just like it's all on his own free will. I just think that James Harden, you feel me? They have to get rid of James Harden, no matter who's the coach. Unless it's Scott Brooks or D'Antoni that kind of feed into that shit, but D'Antoni doesn't really want to slow the pace up and post up, so Embiid might get lost in the sauce with that. I mean, it's tough.
Before you came on here, bro, I stated and I stated this like, do I like the firing of Doc Rivers? In a way, yes, but in a way, no, because remember I sit in the group chat and I was saying this to Matt before you got on here. I sit in the group chat that Hart said he did not want to play for Doc.
Basically.
And that was like, okay, that's drawing the line right there. I already know that Doc Rivers is going to be fired first thing in the morning. I already know. Once that came out and was stated that he did not want to play for Doc, I'm like, I'm thinking in my head like, yep, Doc Rivers is going to be fired. And look what happened this morning.
I mean,
Exactly what happened.
Like I said on that exit interview, I mean, all the signs were there. He was like,
you choose. How much is Doc Rivers getting paid? It always comes back to that for me. How much is Doc Rivers getting paid? It's easier to get rid of Doc Rivers and find another coach at the same price or a lesser price than it is to try to move James Harden's contract. I don't see how they move him. How do they move James Harden? They have to bring in a coach that he's willing to play for, because the likelihood of him getting traded to a good team where you can get quality pieces back is low. He's going to, you know what I mean? Or is he even going to accept the trade there? He's going to want to buy out. Only place he's willing to really play outside of Philly is Houston. And what does Houston have that Philly wants?
Here's a question. What happens? Okay, you get a coach that Harden's cool with at the 49. I mean, at the 76ers. But what happens if Embiid don't like him?
I mean, you still stuck between the rock and the hard place. Embiid doesn't seem like the type of player it just seems like he can be easily coached. So it's not like a problem for him as far as who's the coach. He doesn't seem like he's like that type of demeanor. That seems like that more so affects Harden in the sense that he doesn't want to be pressed. He doesn't want to be coached hard. He wants to be coached with a pat on the back and not a foot in the butt. So that's how it goes. Doc Rivers is a former player. He played all out. You can see him on the sidelines. He can barely fucking stand. So he's not the type to just be out there just watching somebody lackadaisically playing on offense and just completely not doing anything on defense. That seems to be glossed over too much. Doc Rivers is in a sense a defensive coach. He wants hard-nosed players, and James Harden fits none of those roles. He's a contested shot taker. You know what I mean? And he doesn't play defense. He can pass. I think he passes more out of necessity at this point in his career because he can't blow by nobody.
Exactly. It's just sad. Like, I understand why they did it, because I understand that he hasn't gotten past the second round and stuff of that nature. But I feel like this was a James Harden move to fire Doc Rivers after everything went down in the last couple of days. So if you're going to fire Doc Rivers off the strength of what he did as a coach, as the 76ers, not because of what a player wants. And I feel like the Philadelphia 76ers did it on what a player wants instead of the reasoning why you really fired him in the first place. And that's why I no longer support the Philadelphia 76ers. And I really meant that from the bottom of my heart, because this is what the Philadelphia 76ers do. This is what they do on a regular basis. You boarded a guy in Brett Brown before Doc Rivers that just because he was under the
Popovich tree.
He was under the tree of Popovich. You thought he was going to bring that success there. But if you got to look at it, look at the top of the organization. You only boarded Embiid and Ben Simmons, and the rest was history. You really didn't bring in nobody else to really help that team or help Brett Brown, but Brett Brown was a terrible coach anyway. But then you bring in Doc Rivers. Okay, you trade for James Harden. I already knew that I didn't like the trade from the beginning. So in that case, I was like, this is not going to work. So now you go and get a James Harden. You got an Embiid. Did you overpay for PJ Tucker? You overpay him the money that he got, and we all know that he's not an offensive scorer. We know he's great on defense, but he's not. Hold up, he's not an offensive. I'm just giving you the storyline on how this thing is going to go. And at the end of the day, PJ Tucker got overpaid, James Harden got overpaid, and then you put a bunch of but outside of so Maxey, good draft pick from Doc Rivers. I didn't like the James Harden trade. I didn't like the James Harden trade.
Tobias $30 million is a mistake. He's not a $30 million.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. So Tobias Harris, to me, Tobias Harris got overpaid. We should have paid Jimmy Butler instead of Tobias Harris. I've been saying that. So this really coming. Hold up, bro. This is really coming down to a organization that has been inconsistent since 2001. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. As a former Philadelphia 76ers fan, this is why I'm no longer supporting the team. And people are like, oh, you need to support the teams that you live in. Fuck that. I'm tired of the inconsistency with this 76ers team, from Tobias Harris to everything that's been going on with this 76ers franchise. And Daryl Morey should have been fired with Doc Rivers. Simple as that.
Because I mean, Doc got y'all with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy was on the team. Wasn't Doc coaching when Jimmy was on the team? They made it to the conference finals. They lost by 3.
No.
Who was coaching?
That was Brett Brown. That was not Doc.
Yeah, but letting Jimmy go was a mistake. I think that actually just snowballed it. Bringing in Doc Doc's Doc. He's going to coach. He can coach him up. He can get you to some good games, and the players got to get you over the hump. At the end of the day, I think that Jimmy not signing Jimmy Butler, signing Tobias Harris, the fallout of Ben Simmons, his lack of you know what I mean, his lack of production, his lack of growth really stunted the growth of the team. The Markelle Fultz situation stunted the growth of the team, and then you bring in James Harden in a desperate move from a new GM. So it's like, it was desperation moves all around. At the end of the day, it's been a cycle of desperation.
So I have a question. Yeah, has Milwaukee signed a new coach yet?
Not yet.
Nobody has signed a new coach. Ever since all the coaches got fired, nobody has gotten hired. So let's just throw that out there. Everybody that's got fired, nobody has gotten hired. We heard interviews, but even with the Suns vacancy, nobody got hired from that. Toronto's vacancy, nobody got hired from that. Milwaukee's vacancy, nobody got hired from that. There's a lot of teams that have not hired nobody yet.
Those two jobs are very enticing between Philly and Phoenix. Those two jobs are very enticing.
I'll say this. If Doc Rivers somehow could get the job in Milwaukee, bet you he wins another championship.
Of course. If you look at that roster top to bottom, it's better than the Philadelphia 76ers by far.
And they all are dogs. Every one of them are dogs on that team.
But we have too much of a pat on the back type of guy.
But we have to look. It's a lot of questions with Milwaukee this year with Middleton contract. If he's going to come back next season,
contract, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of contract situation with those players that's picking up their fifth-year option.
Brooke contract is up this year too, I think.
Yeah, so like they gotta get those. If they're gonna bring all those players back, bring your players back first, and then bring your coach. That's just how I would do it if I was a GM. If I want to win another championship with that squad, I'm going to re-sign my players. But the thing about it is, I just don't feel like Chris Middleton is worth max money. That's just my opinion.
No.
Not at this moment in his career, no.
It's really depending on what Chris Middleton wants. But when it comes to coaching, it's like
re-sign Chris Middleton. Why do they have to re-sign Chris Middleton?
I just feel like if you want to win, you want to keep that core around. I mean, who can you replace with Chris Middleton?
He's good, but he's not at that price. That's the thing. Like his price is getting too high. His price is getting too high for the production that he does provide. He still provides, you know what I mean, a different offensive punch, and he still can play defense, you know what I mean, at a solid
availability.
That's true too. But I mean, who you gonna replace him with? As far as with the money making sense?
I mean, I don't know who's all out up for free agency this year. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't looked at all of that. But I'm saying you're not going to tell me between free agency and a trade, Milwaukee can't make something happen for.
He can make something better than Middleton. Yeah, but I think the chemistry between him and
my whole thing is, if you're going to pay $30 million to somebody, let's go find somebody. Let's go find somebody who's consistently healthy.
Not too many teams willing to give that up. That's the problem.
You know what though? Ed Mack has a point because Chris Middleton has not been available for Milwaukee. The best ability is availability, and he has not been 100% healthy in the last 2 years. So that's why his production kind of declined.
It's hard unless you're trying to throw some draft picks into the trade, you know what I mean, or just, you know what I mean, some players that you may not want to trade to bring back somebody of that quality. Good teams are not just giving up just those types of players. Those types of players aren't aren't a dime a dozen in the league.
Oh no, absolutely, and
But
I
two
completely
wings
agree
that
with
can
that.
get
But
their own
you
shot.
have Giannis. You have Giannis. Giannis is probably the easiest superstar to build around.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Agree.
You got Giannis. You got the
out of everybody in the NBA, and this is no slight on nobody else because there are a lot of damn good guys that are almost right there with him. But Antetokounmpo is literally the easiest guy to build around. You get him a facilitator, you get him a shooter, and you get him a guy to help get rebounds. And then you grab a couple role players.
I can be completely honest with you.
That's all you need for a team.
I can be completely honest with you. I wouldn't mind because Fred VanVleet is a free agent this year. I can see him going to Milwaukee or Philadelphia, depending on who the coach is.
If they went after him and left Middleton alone,
I can see him going to the Suns.
We're already talking about a team who's going to make it to the Final Four.
I can see him going to the
So
Suns.
then they can re-sign Lopez.
What's the clock on Dame Lillard? Is Dame Lillard clock up? Because he might run out. There's a couple moves that are out there.
I see that with the Dame Lillard situation. I'm not going to even bring up Dame Dollar. I'm just not, because he is too loyal to the Portland Trailblazers at this moment. He just is. And all them trade rumors that have been coming out in the last 2 off seasons, he has declined.
Have you watched any of his interviews?
Multiple times.
Multiple
times he said it. I don't want to be traded. I want to try to win a championship in Portland. He said it the last 2 years. He said it.
No, go. He literally just had an interview where it was him, DeRozan, and somebody else that were talking about Portland and talking about championships. And he was like, "Look, man, if Portland ain't gonna go after a championship, then I need to go somewhere."
He said he want to be there, but if they're not going to go after it, which they just don't. They don't have their Portland's problem is really just a market. They're in too small of a market to really attract a top level free agent to want to come there and consistently play there for years on end, live there, uproot their family to Portland. That's a hard ask for great players. Not people. Maybe somebody.
I'm just going off the last 2 years. I'm just going off the last 2 years. How much he declined of not wanting to be traded, and I'm just tired of talking about. And actually, to me, until it's actually happened, Dame Dollar will stay a Portland Trailblazer until it actually happens. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point is, do you want him? If you want him, you're going to go get him. And nobody's truly wanted him yet. Nobody has.
If you look at his contract is masterful. If you look at it, it's a massive contract that he got.
His style of play is what it is. Like, I hate to keep bringing the horn of defense, but this guy he's another one that doesn't play defense. He doesn't play. He tries. He doesn't really play defense. His style of play on offense is what it is. He's not really off the ball type of guy. You know what I mean? He needs the ball in his hands, running the show. So you kind of need to uproot your whole team. 1-4 flat. You can't really. I mean, you can run a big, but you see how Nurkic looks next to him when available. He looks decent. They look like a decent 1-2 punch. But Dame, like I say, like you said, Dame just wants to be out of. He has to want to be out of Portland for it to actually happen.
Yeah, exactly, and that's all I'm saying. So for me, I'm just kind of upset how the way this Doc Rivers firing went down, because James Harden he pulled the trigger on this. So James Harden, bro, I'm gonna let you know right now, and I don't care where you're listening from. I don't care if anybody tag him on Twitter, tag him on Facebook, because tag him on Instagram, because at this point I really don't give a shit about what James Harden has to say, because at the end of the day, you're hindering the reason why the 76ers would never be successful there, because it's you. It's you. You're hindering everybody's talent from coming from being elevated because you want to think about your fucking self.
Yeah.
Sorry to say it.
The final loss is squarely on his shoulders. How the fuck do you score 45 points? If anybody score 20.
If anybody that's in the comments right now, please screen record what I'm about to say and send this to James Harden inbox, because you know what? I don't care anymore. James Harden, you're fat, you're lazy, and you're not a Hall of Famer. You're a fucking scrub. You are a scrub. You are a bum. A 100% fat ass, no Coleman beard ass bum. I'm sorry because I'm tired of defending you. You didn't show up and you didn't show up for this round two games out of 7 games, bro. And you supposed to be this former MVP and this former scoring champion. No, F that.
You
F
only
that.
played 2,000 games.
You destroyed Houston, and now you destroyed Brooklyn, and now you're destroying Philadelphia because of your style of play. Nobody walks the ball up anymore. We're in a faster paced league, so you need to get with the times, for real. And that's all I really gotta say about James Harden. But he's not a future Hall of Famer. Don't put him in the same. Don't even put him in the same realm of these players that doesn't have rings but did have more productivity than you. Sorry, you're not going in the Hall of Fame. If you do, it's a mockery of the game because of your style of play. I'm done. Y'all can go.
I mean, you basically summed it up. He got to get his shit together, and I think that, like I say, he'll end up playing for a coach that loves to pat him on the back, as opposed to kicking him in the ass. So, and Doc Rivers is going to be on you every time out, and that's why Doc Rivers is no longer there, because it's easier to get rid of the coach than it is to find a trade partner for the player or to cut and eat that money of $40+ million. So it is.
Here's my question. Hold on. Here's my question. Right. They fired Doc Rivers to keep Harden, right? What happens if Harden opts out?
Let him opt out. I do not care.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Then they fall back on the fact
Fired
that
your coach.
failed. Then they just fall back on the fact that Doc Rivers has failed and not accomplished anything since being in Philly. The closest he's came has been just the you know what I mean? Nowhere. He hasn't been anywhere. He didn't accomplish as much as Brett Brown. So there's that. What conference finals he's been to? Okay.
Hold on. Brown had a much better Sixers team.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
What?
If you look at it,
Jimmy Butler alone,
Jimmy Butler
was so much better than anybody else that they had on the court this year.
Even with Jimmy Butler alone, we still couldn't get to the conference finals. We still couldn't do it. With Brett Brown at coach, we still couldn't do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying compare this year's team to that year's team with Jimmy Butler and Embiid.
I mean, but MVP Embiid wasn't playing at this level then.
Exactly, he wasn't.
Embiid wasn't playing at this level. Maxey wasn't this player. Was Maxey even on the
dog doo-doo?
Huh?
The last 2 games of this series, Embiid played like shit.
Yeah, but if you look at that Embiid from when he played with Brett Brown, then the Embiid that played for Doc Rivers, Embiid really elevated when Doc Rivers became coach. Let's just be real. We already knew what Embiid was capable of. We already knew what Embiid was capable of, but Brett Brown could not break out his potential. And if you look at that 76ers team, our second unit right now is better than that second unit that we had.
The team as a whole is better. They may have Jimmy, and Jimmy is a big piece. I'm not saying that he's not. And usually not having Jimmy Butler on the team is massive. But the growth of Embiid, the development, and the breakout potential of Maxey has, it kind of cancels it out to me a little bit. I just think that at the end of the day, you bring in somebody like Harden, and it completely just changes the dynamic of the team as far as on offense and defensively. Because on defense, he's just not going to do anything. He's at the head of the snake. Like you're not even going to guard anybody. You have to run games around to hide you and shit.
Can I say this though? One thing I can say about that Brett Brown team, they competed until the end.
Yes,
let's not forget that they competed into the end against that Kawhi Leonard Toronto Raptors championship team. They came down to the last shot.
They look like the team as a whole looked like they did quit on Doc. I think that the team, they got tired of Doc's voice. They got tired of his pestering. They got tired of him pressing down on in every timeout, especially people that are at the highest paid part of the food chain. They have the ear of the GM. He has the ear of the GM at the end of the day. Daryl Morey is James Harden's guy. They're both each other's guy. Like, he's going to look out for him. He's going to have his ear. That's probably the first person he called before he said
I'm going to say this.
First.
It don't matter what coach they bring in there. I bet you they don't get back to the playoffs again.
They'll get back to the playoffs.
I disagree. I feel like I disagree. I
Nope.
feel like when it, I feel
Nope.
like Daryl.
I bet you they don't. I bet you they don't.
For me,
if Harden starts the majority
me,
games, he starts more than 60 games. I bet you they don't.
For me, this is what needs to happen if Philadelphia wants to succeed. One, get rid of James Harden. We already know that aspect.
Yeah.
But you still have to build this basketball team.
Yeah.
We don't. Our second unit is not that great. Let's keep it real. I would not keep George Niang. I would not keep. I would not keep. I mean, I'll keep the Anthony Melton, but McDaniels can go. But this is what's going to happen. And realistically, Daryl Morey is going to build it as a Rockets team again. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Mike D'Antoni is going to come in here and he's going to bring in all his former Rockets players. And it's going to look like the Philadelphia Rockets. Enough said. As realistic that I don't want that to be, that is going to happen.
They just need more athletic wings. That's one of their main problems. They don't have too many athletes between 6'6" and 6'9" on the wing that can really do something. Like they just need more run and shoot type guys that are willing to defend. Mikal Bridges would be a perfect player for this team.
How is that going to work with Harden walking the ball down? How's it going to work with Harden walking the ball down?
You have to get rid of Harden.
Exactly.
But clearly they're not going to.
They're not going. As long as Daryl Morey is the GM,
if Harden's willing to sign there, then he's going to be there. If Harden really wants to play somewhere else, he'll really play somewhere else.
As long as Daryl Morey's the GM, Harden's not going anywhere.
No.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And the thing about it is, if you look, if you want to look,
it doesn't matter what they put on that team, as long as they have James Harden, no more. I bet you they don't get to the playoffs.
And if you look at it, if you look at it, right, look at how the organization has drafted. And look how the players that was in these drafts that we could have got over the players that we got.
Yeah.
So I mean, yes, Embiid was our guy. Yes, Maxey was a hell of a pick. Yes, but outside of those two, Ben Simmons was a flop. Like I knew it was going to be because I watched him at LSU. I knew he was going to be a flop. Markelle Fultz was good. Markelle Fultz was good when he came out of Washington. Yes, he was good, but injuries hindered him, and injuries are hindering him now. That's why he's not the player that he is, because injuries is killing his career right now. It really is.
Fultz and Maxey right now will be spicy in the backcourt.
But think about this. We drafted Mikal Bridges and we traded him.
Yeah, that was
Mikal Bridges. Like
y'all could have had Tatum too. Y'all could have had Tatum as well. So it's like
it's so many players that's great in those drafts that we did not get, and it starts from the top to the bottom.
Yeah,
it's sad. It's just sad for Philadelphia. It's a sad day. It's a sad day in Philadelphia, but not for me. Not for me. It's not a sad day. I signed my resignation on Sunday, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. So it is what it is. But as far as coaches go, we have a lot of vacancies coming around with these coaches now. We have Milwaukee that needs a coach. Toronto needs a coach. The Suns need a coach. The Philadelphia Sixers needs a coach. I mean, you might see you just see Udoka become the Houston Rockets next coach. That's the only hiring that we saw this whole season. And now
I don't like that because I think he can develop the young dudes. And I think like I brought up in the chat, I think somebody like Becky Hammond will be perfect for the Bucks. I think that's the type of organization and type of, you know what I mean, city that can tolerate, you know what I mean, not tolerate, but that will be perfect for that stepping stone of what we need for the NBA as women coaches. She's probably one of the most qualified coaches out there, outside of maybe like Sam Cassell, who's been on the bench for years, and people like that. Maybe Mark Jackson. I mean, I think that Monty is a good coach. He could be a good coach for a good team that wants to really try to get over the hump. I can see Budenholzer becoming Philly's coach. I can honestly see that. But
Mike Budenholzer can't work with Harden. Like
Mike Budenholzer is a pat on the back type of coach. I'm telling you, he can.
Yeah, as long as you're working in his system and running his system. But as soon as you don't run his system, you're gonna have problems.
It is crazy because look at this. Mike Budenholzer, Sam Cassell, Mike D'Antoni, Nick Nurse, and Frank Vogel and Monty Williams are expected to be in this. All expected to be included in the search for the 76ers.
Yeah.
Mike D'Antoni finally pops up back in. Ain't that ironic? That's crazy.
Mike he been said on multiple podcasts that he wanted to still coach, though. He said it on JJ Redick podcast. He still wants to coach. He think that if he could coach a different team, he would buy into more defense.
But he can't coach defense, and that's been the problem with D'Antoni.
He assistants. He has to stomach the fact he needs assistant coaches that will tell him what to do as far as defense. If he's willing to do that, I can see Mike D'Antoni making this offense work. I can see that. He did it with Phoenix with Steve Nash and the big with Amari Stoudemire. So I think he can, if he can envision something like that with Embiid and Harden, and you already know Harden likes D'Antoni.
The difference between Harden and Steve Nash would push the ball up the floor, unlike Harden will.
I agree. Harden has to get into better shape. No coach can make him do that. No GM, no team. Nobody can convince him to do that. They already paid him, so the money is not convincing. He has to do it on his own. He has to want to do it on his own. He has to get into prime after the trade from Oklahoma City, James Harden shape. When he first came from Oklahoma City, and he was in Houston, he was a dog. Injuries haven't robbed him of his career.
But you gotta think about it too. When he was in Oklahoma City, he was considered a sixth man. He wasn't a starter in Oklahoma City.
Started, but that was the Oklahoma City's dumbness. That was their fault. He should have never got out of Oklahoma City to be technical. Yeah, they should have let Ibaka go. They didn't want to pay him an extra $3 million.
Shoot, they should have let Westbrook go.
Westbrook's contract wasn't up yet, though. It wasn't Westbrook's time to get paid. It was between him and Ibaka, and he paid Ibaka. He gave Ibaka the money instead of giving it to Harden. And then Harden said, "You can't come up with an extra $2 million for me." He said, "No,
Harden's doing anything. Harden's not doing anything in the NBA anymore. He's not winning.
Yeah, he's cooked. I think he's cooked now because if he's not going to commit on defense or commit to getting his body into a better shape where he could be as explosive as he once was to a certain degree.
Commit to offense. That's all I want. That's all I
see. If I'm gonna get a guard, I need them to play offense and defense.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
And that I get. That part I 100% get. But again, like I got James Harden because James Harden's got offense.
If I get to save James Harden, that's going to cook.
So many things on offense, so it's okay. But my problem is when you're not producing on offense, you ain't worth a goddamn thing. And as long as he's going to keep walking the ball up, as long as he's going to keep waving people off, as long as he's going to keep doing whatever James Harden wants to do, James Harden is going to be a bum. No team is going to successfully win with James Harden. I'm telling you,
and no task though, and that goes to tell you he needs to look at a reflection in the mirror of himself to look at. No matter where I went, I could not get it done, and then and at the same time, I have these playoff woes since I've been a star in this league since leaving Oklahoma City. I have these playoff woes. Something's have to give, and I feel like to me that James Harden does not want it enough. I think he's actually complacent and actually convinced himself that this is what he is. And you know what? I don't need a player like that on my team to feel that he feels like he doesn't need to change. He doesn't need to elevate. He doesn't need to progress. He doesn't need to get in shape. And I feel like James Harden has always been a selfish player. Always been. People say, oh, it's because he led the league in a sense. I do not care at the end of the day. He's a selfish player. He's not a leader of a team. He thinks about himself only.
Yeah, I mean,
this is why the Sixers has failed.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. When you have a mentality like that, it's just like John Morant's mentality. You're not gonna tell me. Yeah, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And it's the same thing. It's like you see these players, and they're amazing when they want to be, but it's like. It's the stupid decisions that
it's the player empowerment movement. That's the thing, and the people kind of blame LeBron for that. But shit, LeBron is going to actually play hard. So it's like you can't want to be empowered, but you're not going to play hard. So it's like
exactly.
Some people want that label, that title of like, yeah, I'm running the show. I'm doing me. I'm the ruler of my domain, but you're not actually the ruler of your domain because you're you're shortchanging yourself at the end of the day. You're making yourself, he's fucking up his own legacy, along with fucking up these teams. These teams will move forward. They will move forward without James Harden. James Harden will eventually retire. But the legacy of these teams and his own legacy will be fucked up.
I give him 3 years. 3 years before he's out of the league.
He's got about like 4. I think he's got about like 4 more years.
Nope.
Now,
because he's not going to do it. He's not going to do a backup role.
Honestly, at this point, I'm giving him 2 more years.
That's tough.
I'm giving him 2 years. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. James Harden do not jump when he shoots the ball. He barely jumps. So everything is at the front of the rim. He's out of shape. The game is getting faster for James Harden. He's not going to be able to last if he doesn't keep himself in shape.
Yeah. And he's not coming off the bench. He's not going to come off the bench. He's not going to be a backup guy. No. You can tell that with his mentality. And who's going to want a guy to come with their second rotation that don't play defense, walks the ball up, you know what I mean? Essentially hogs the ball, takes bad shots. Like, I mean, like I said, this is the last thing I'm going to say about Harden. To me, worthless.
Yeah. So my question as far as these coaches go, where do these coaches land and why? Because I mean, if you look at it, there's some qualified coaches that no longer have a job anymore. The only reason why I say that is because we have coaches in the league right now that has not done nothing for franchises and still remains the head coach. So if
I can see Monty, I can see either Monty or Becky. I would like to see Becky in Milwaukee. Either Monty or Becky in Milwaukee, because I think that they're both. I think Monty is more of a ready-made coach, and Milwaukee, you know what I mean, they kind of need that, and you know what I mean, they need some more. They just need a fresher voice in there. I think he's a leader of men. They will follow him. They will continue. It wouldn't upset the motion of the team. I think for Philly, I don't really know what the hell Philly's going to do. Like we've already discussed. I don't really know what Philly can do. Phoenix, you know, I can see Mark Jackson getting that job. That wouldn't bother me. Somebody like Mark, somebody like that. I heard Scotty Brooks' name's been thrown around in a couple of these jobs. I think that Scott, you know what I mean, as long as Scotty is not on his coach clap tip anymore, like he just want to be a cheerleader on the sideline anymore. If he actually wants to coach and not just watch the game like the rest of us did, cool. That was Scott Brooks' main fault to me. He becomes a cheerleader on the sideline too much. So it's like he has to get out of that.
Makes almost no in-game adjustments.
He's watching the game. He's enjoying the game like the rest.
Like to me, he's not a coach. He's not a coach. He's a babysitter. He babysat the Wizards for what, 4 or 5 years? Before that, he babysat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like, Come on, man. He's not a good coach. If anybody hires Scott Brooks as a head coach, they're a joke, and that's how I'm going to take it. I don't care what.
I say the same thing for Mike D'Antoni.
They're a joke.
I think if they change their leaves as far as where they are, I think that Mike D'Antoni, you know what I mean, has talked about how he wish he would have just, you know what I mean, he has to buy into more defense like he has to. And Scott Brooks at the end of the day just has to not want to be a cheerleader. He's a solid coach. He can draw up some shit. I mean, you know, these teams, coaching staffs is what's really going to be important. The people that he put around.
If I'm the Philadelphia 76ers and you really want a hard-nosed coach, the Sixers should hire Sam Cassell and then get in James Harden ass.
Yeah,
Sam Cassell is a nonchalant type of person. He was a nonchalant type of player. He did not give a fuck, and I think the Sixers need that type of coaching. That a person that doesn't give a damn. I don't care how much money you plan. If you're not producing, I ain't benching you. And that's the type of person Sam Cassell is.
Yeah,
but how far do you think that's going to work with the team with James Harden on it?
Well, this is what has to happen. This is what has to happen then, Mac. If Daryl Morey hires Sam Cassell and Daryl Morey has to have that conversation. Listen, I'm trying to grow it. No, just hear me out.
They're only going to hire a player coach there.
This is why I feel this, but
anybody who's in the push will not be brought there.
I'm saying if they do though, if they do hire Sam Cassell, right? If I'm Sam Cassell and I'm the head coach for the Philadelphia 76ers, I'm going in their office and talking to Daryl Morey like, listen, Harden is not going to elevate us. We have to make some moves to get some younger guys in here so we can actually have a chance. That's something that Doc, for me, that's what I feel like Doc Rivers didn't do. I don't think he had those conversations with Daryl Morey.
Yeah.
I don't think he did. And I think Sam Cassell is more blunt than Doc Rivers is. He's going to go to the GM and be like, listen, if we want to get past the second round, we have to do this, and this. And I feel like coaches need to do that to GMs a little bit more. Like, listen, I understand this is your team, you bringing in the people, but you got to help me out in the same token and bring in people that are coachable to get to a championship. And that's what James Harden is. He's not coachable.
I disagree with you on that. I think that might be why Doc Rivers got fired, is because after the season was over, he probably did. He went to the GM and was like, yo, fuck these players. You put a bullshit-ass team together, and this is your fault we can't
I don't
win.
think Doc Rivers going to tell Daryl Morey that. I don't see that.
I think the issue was that James Harden went to Daryl Morey and said he can't play for him. And you have to realize that the financial ramifications of getting rid of James Harden's contract versus just terminating Doc Rivers' contract, you're going to pick terminating Doc Rivers' contract every time. The coach always gets the short end of the stick when it's the high-paid player involved. If it's PJ Tucker saying this shit, Doc Rivers still has his job.
Yes,
Shake Milton on the bench, Bryant on the bench, say, I can't play for Doc. Doc Rivers keeps his job. It's the fact that he's being paid so much.
It just goes back to like what Stephen A. Smith said about DeAndre Ayton getting Monty Williams fired. This is the same thing. This is the same thing.
He just got paid. They're not going to. They just financially can't get rid of, especially on the back of this past playoff series, where
right.
you like completely quit.
It's easier to get rid of the coach than get rid of the player. It's easier to get rid of the coach than get rid of the player. It's unfortunate that it happens that way, and it shouldn't be that way, but it's unfortunate. They're going to fire the coach before they get rid of the player.
It happens every single time. Every time. And 10 times on Sunday.
So even though Nick Nurse is out there, Mark Jackson's out there, all these coaches are out there, they're going to have a job by next season. Some way, somehow. They're going to have a job by next season. But like I said before, Mike D'Antoni is the new coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sorry to say. I don't see the Sixers looking at anybody else because this is what the Sixers do. So we could definitely move forward because coaches is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of changes. Free agency is going to play a big part in coaches as well.
We're about to hit
that. Going to play a big part. So, Doc Rivers, we wish you the best, man. I can see you being somewhere else real soon. You would not be on the market as a coach of vacancy for a long time. You would not be.
No, he'll find a job. He'll definitely get a job.
He'll definitely have a job as a head coach in the NBA. No, hands down.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah. I know the thing about this, and I know a lot of Sixers fans is probably happy that Doc Rivers is gone, but don't be happy because you still got James Harden. Don't be happy.
Yeah, you still
be worried. Be worried at this
point. Doc is just the X's and O's guy. He's pressing buttons, but the people on the court are actually operating them with fucking machinery. They're the ones actually, you know what I mean, directing the show. And James Harden is at the head of the director. He just looks like complete shit. He's been looking like shit.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed there. So
what's our next topic? Because I didn't even get to talk up Boston. I didn't get to shit talk on my Boston. So like, yeah, motherfucker.
Because we're gonna talk a little bit about Miami and the Boston game. We definitely going to talk about it. We definitely are.
Oh, no, I was just talking about getting the shit talk on them 76ers. From a Boston perspective.
How much shit talking can you give the 76ers? How much? Enough is enough.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. A few of my buddies that are 76ers fans talked a lot of shit. That they were going to close out in Game 6. They were going to close out Game 7. And, I thought
I ain't gonna lie. I was one of the ones that I thought they were gonna close out in Game 6. But I said it on this show. If we go back to Boston, Boston is beating us. I said that on this show.
I remember that, but I mean,
out of Boston. Everybody agreed with that.
All the glory, baby. It's all the glory. And now we got over the Sixers. So now it's like that. Now the real competition is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, this is going to like you know what? Fuck it. Let's get into it right now. My Miami Heat is going to do what they need to do. They're going to do what needs to be done. Okay. This is
Only way Miami
I think this series goes to 7 games
goes
as well.
7 games.
This series will go to 7 games. I feel like this is going to be a chess match between two coaches. But I think Eric Spoelstra is the most experienced coach out of Missoula. But I feel like Boston has more talented players to get it done without their coaches telling them what to do.
I'm gonna say
they're more talented than Miami, but I feel like Miami has the heart. Like, listen, I don't care.
The games will be won and lost by the bench players. It's going to be Miami's bench versus Boston's bench. Whichever bench produces the most, honestly, that's what team is going to win.
I think at the end of the day, the thing with Miami's bench is that they're basically an extension of the starters, because only two of their starters are really legit NBA starters. The rest of their starters are backups. Really, they got Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love coming off the bench. Well, they've been starting Kevin Love, but those two are the only really like NBA starter quality players. The rest of them are bench players. I think that the scoring is going to look abnormal as far as the bench scoring, because Miami does depend on their bench a lot more. They play a lot more guys. They play more of their players. And I think that it's going to just come down to if Miami plays a more team brand style of basketball as opposed to the ISO ball that Boston can get sucked into, you know what I mean, a lot. And I just think that they're going to play off of a few guys, and we'll just see. We'll see how much can Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown cook on an island. One of them is going to have Jimmy on.
Because
I'm saying, Boston Celtics, we have more people that can provide versus Miami. Miami struggles to have somebody other than the top 3 guys put up 20 points.
Yeah, they struggle to score.
I agree with that, but I feel
they got to get hot behind the 3-point line for the whole team to really make a difference. And that's what
I just feel like Bam as a
players. That's what's good. That's
Bam's
really
got to go off, bro. He's got to go off.
For me, and I'm gonna be honest. I feel like even though Al Horford is a great defender, he's a good defender. I'm gonna say great, but he's a good defender. But he went up against an Embiid that looks stiff. He didn't have a Bam Adebayo that goes 110% on every possession. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Even though Bam Adebayo is undersized under the basket,
yeah,
but he gives his all.
He's got to cook.
The difference between Joel Embiid and Bam Adebayo.
He's got to cook.
You're going to have to earn your rebounds with me.
Yeah.
Unlike Joel Embiid, he stands around sometimes, and I understand he's the MVP and all of that nature, but I will take a Bam Adebayo defensively that I know that's going to give me 110% than an Embiid that gave me in Game 7.
I can see Boston double teaming Jimmy.
Here's the thing, right? They're going to put Williams on him.
Because I still think Bam is more athletic than Williams.
Williams is it's going to be much easier to keep up with him and have a good defensive game on Adebayo.
I don't know. I think Bam is more.
I'm just going to say this. Remember when you guys said it wasn't going to work against the Sixers and Embiid, and that's exactly what they did.
That's different.
That's exactly how they won. I'm just telling you.
Their team actually moves. I think that the difference between the two teams, obviously, is that you were playing against a more stagnant offense, you can see it coming from a mile away type offense. Miami is going to throw so many different looks. I just think that at the end of the day, it's really about how they come out schematically. If they try to run 2 bigs, and they can run 2 bigs with Kevin Love and Adebayo, who can stretch the floor, that'll give the middle of the floor to Adebayo and Jimmy, where so they can just work in their spots. But I think that if they can also run small and not play Kevin Love at all, they can bring Kevin Love off the bench as more of a backup 5. And they can run small and try to outrun you out the gym. They do have some smaller guards. I think that could be that could be an issue between Kyle Lowry and Lil Vincent. These guys,
they're run the Boston Celtics off the floor. Like
yeah,
Boston Celtics move the ball. They are very quick in transition, and they have good transition defense.
I mean,
They don't have great transition defense, but they're
in the
good.
matchup against the 76ers, I think that they didn't expose the fact that Maxey was unguardable basically in the open floor. They had nobody.
Exactly.
You have nobody on your team that can keep up with those type of speedy type of guards at the end of the day.
And Miami likes to run the up tempo as well.
Yeah,
They're not a team they're a team that could have a set offense and a half court. But at the same time, they get a rebound and run. They're deadly. And I don't think for me, I feel like Al Horford cannot get back on defense faster than Bam Adebayo. If Bam Adebayo is running the floor, Horford's not going to be able to get back. And I'm telling you, Mazzulla is going to put Al Horford on Bam instead of Robert Williams. I'm telling you that right now.
He can't start both of them. He can't start both of them because the simple fact on offense it bogs down the offense. It makes it too compacted because you don't have to really guard. You're banking on Al Horford to keep hitting those threes, but he's not really. That's not really his game. That's not what he really wants to do.
For years, bro.
Look at his retention though. He's not
lately. Threes, man.
Yeah, but if you look about this, okay. If that's the case, Mac. If that's the case, Mac. It shows when Al Horford's not making his threes.
The last 8 years of his career.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Then
I won't say all the time.
Look at it.
He does.
I don't think he's consistent at the three anymore. I think he used to be because if you look at the game that the Boston,
I'm saying he consistently works from the three.
Yeah, he does. But
if you're not going to guard him, you can just
wait. Just in the losses that Boston has, Al Horford did not shoot well from the three.
Yeah, they'll just they'll play it off, and then when he catches it, they'll rotate. They won't have a match like Kevin Love. You can't leave Kevin Love. Look at his percentages from three. You can't leave him from three. That's the difference between those two.
What the first thing I said, the role players would be everything in this. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be Horford. It's going to be Love. It's going to be, White. It's going to be Brogdon. It's going to be Kyle Lowry. It's going to be, Strus. It's going to be Robinson. It's all these players are going to have to show up in this series. If not, whoever bench does not show up will be the loser. That's it. That's the superstars.
Doing.
Bam is going to pretty much get you a double-double every game, okay? Jimmy Butler is going to get you at least 25, 5, and 5, which is a good all-around, okay? It's who else is going to step up. It's the same thing for Boston. Brown's going to cook. Tatum's going to cook. Who else is going to cook? You know what I mean? And that's what all these games fall down to.
I think that one of those two is going to end up being locked up. Whichever one got Jimmy on him, you can pretty much stamp that as he's not going to get his average. He's not going to get his average. So whichever one's guarding Jimmy and the one that's being guarded by Jimmy is going to have a long day. Unless you just cross that up somehow. What's
crazy about it is Jimmy's game is so cool, calm, and collective. Like it's a slow game. It's like a slow game, but if you look at it in real time, it's like, damn, he's really cooking. Like he can give you a quiet 20. He can give you a quiet 20 or 25, and you wouldn't even notice it.
That's the thing with Jimmy. Jimmy is aggressive in the fact of like hunting layups. He's hunting easy shit around the hoop, blowing high
percentage shots.
That's what he. I mean, that's what he do.
That's smart basketball. That means you have high IQ in basketball.
Yeah,
you're looking for good passes. You're looking for good shots. You're looking to get somebody open. You're looking to move the floor when you don't have the ball. You're moving your feet. You're setting picks. That's the whole thing. Like you don't have to run everywhere, but you have to consistently move on the court, and that's what Jimmy has a great job of doing that. But defensively, I think Boston has a better defense than Miami, and not just a little bit, like a good bit.
They have more versatile defense.
Tatum plays defense. Brown plays defense. Horford plays defense. Smart plays defense. Brogdon plays defense. White can play defense. So it's like it's all about the matchups when you're coming to Butler. But who can Butler completely dominate? One of the smaller guys.
Yeah, no, JT. Honestly,
for me, I think it doesn't matter who it is on them. I don't think it matters.
It don't matter whichever one you put on. Jimmy's going to get
If Brown stuck to him,
No.
pretty much the whole series?
Absolutely not.
I think Brown is just too small. Brown is too small.
He's too small for
He's
Butler.
the same size.
He's too small for Jimmy, though. Jimmy overpowers people, bro. Jimmy makes people look very small. He makes some of the biggest. He made Tobias Harris and those guys look really small on defense. He made
Chris Middleton. They talked about Chris Middleton being a great defender. Made Chris
he
Middleton
look-
look like shit.
Middleton was a good at best defender.
Chris Middleton's been a great defender, and he's been a solid defender in this league.
Yes, he's been good, but he's not great.
And Jimmy
Great
Butler,
somebody that you don't want to match up with. When
He
you
made
get that
Drew
matchup,
Holiday
you pass the
look
ball
like
away from
And
that.
Drew Holiday is one of the
That's a
strongest
great
guards in
defender.
the league. Drew Holiday is one of the strongest guards in the league. He made Drew Holiday look like a complete baby. He made him like an infant on the court. I can only imagine what he's going to do to the less defensive qualified players in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You're going to have to go Marcus Smart on him, and Marcus Smart too small too. So you can't expect so much out of Jaylen on offense if you plan on having him play Jimmy on defense, because he's going to be hunting him. He's going to be hunting whoever because he's the main guy.
Like I said, I feel like if they get the right defensive matchups, they can limit Jimmy. And if they limit Jimmy and the role players don't step up, it's an easy win for Boston.
I think if Jimmy goes off, I think that the role players, I think at the end of the day, it does come down to the role players. It does come down to the secondary players. And I think that Boston has more options in that realm. I think Jimmy is still going to cook. He's still going to do him. He may win them a game or two on his own, but I think, like you say, it's going to come down to the rest of the players. And I think that Boston just has more. They have more potential firepower. I think that Miami plays a more together type of brand of basketball, and it produces in the moments that they needed it. But overall, I think that Boston has been more consistent in that aspect of just getting more from more people at the end of the day.
And honestly, like I said, I think that's honestly the game changer. Like I said, if they play even and the bench play horrible, it's going to be those up and down, through the whole game, all the way through the fourth quarter. And I guarantee, if they play like that, 2 or 3 of the games are going to go in overtime. Like
it's going to be a great series, man. That's why I feel like this is it's really going to be down to how Eric Spoelstra, get these matchups, and I think he's been here. He's been here. He knows how to win here with the left that he has. Even though I think this will be a little bit more different if Tyler Hero was healthy, and which he's getting
another
healthy.
Creator. Yeah.
And but the fact that they getting here, the fact that they're getting here without Oladipo and Hero being hurt.
Yeah,
it's just I just feel like people need to stop underestimating how Miami is capable of winning.
Yeah, because they play a team. They play more of a team style ball than Boston. Boston is more isolated, driven. At the end of the day, they can get sucked into multiple possessions in a row where it's just one guy just off of one pass trying to cook. Miami's going to constantly be moving the ball. They're going to be constantly trying to push it in transition. They're going to be constantly looking for outlet passes to get easy shots. I think that Boston lives and is kind of predicated on getting and hitting difficult shots more as opposed to with Miami. Miami's trying to just hunt layups. They're trying to hunt easy shit. Boston is just trying to cook.
Because if Kevin Love is down there getting rebounds, if I'm the Boston Celtics, get back. Because I can see about 4 or 5 times a game is easy layups. He's gonna throw that pass down the court. I'm just saying, Boston because that's been one of their Miami's bread and butter transition.
That's been his bread and butter his whole career. As long as he got people that are willing to run the floor and get out, and you got 2 guards that can run the floor and push the pace, and Vincent and Kyle Lowry, I think that they can really get out on the floor and just may possibly outrun this team. Because if they're trying to run 2 bigs, Al Horford and Williams are not going to be able to get back.
They're not going to run 2 at the same time. Not against Miami. It makes no sense. Why would you put them 2 on the court at the same time, for real?
We'll see if Mazzulla stays with that starting 5, because I'm going to tell you why. If Derek White gets back in that starting lineup, who is he defending?
Who is he guarding
Who is he guarding?
Kevin Love. Who's guarding Adebayo?
I just don't think. I think for me, for the Boston Celtics, I feel like defensively, Derek White is your liability on defense.
He's a good defender, but he's
a good defender. And this just in the matchup. Look at the matchups.
He's the one
he
you
was
target.
a liability. He was a liability in the Sixers in the Sixers.
I can see Jimmy
series.
hunting him and
But
switch.
I mean,
I can see Jimmy hunting him and switch.
Robinson is a liability. Strauss is a liability.
No,
Even
Strauss
Kevin
is
Love
that
can
much
be a
of a liability.
liability in
That's
defense.
but
Bam Adebayo
that's
has been a liability throughout the
No.
playoffs on
Stop.
defense.
they play more of a team
Please, come
defense.
on, bro. Get out of here.
They play more of a team defense.
Bro.
They
You
play
said
more
what?
of a team defense. Miami plays more of a team defense. They don't really play man to man like that because they know they're not athletic.
They
know
got
they're not
killed by.
athletically-
Are you kidding me? They were getting killed by the Knicks in multiple games. Get out of here. Their defense was garbage.
No.
No. How
does Brunson get in the paint and shoot a non-contested
Wait,
shot
wait,
over
wait a
10
minute.
times in a goddamn game? That is trash defense. Fucking trash. Garbage.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. It was only one player on the New York Knicks that was cooking them, and I kept saying it in the live streams. If you're going to beat Jalen Brunson, you have to force him to his right. And look what Miami did in Game 7. They even though that Brunson put up the numbers, but when it mattered, they forced him right.
Yeah, he could.
He's a left-hander.
He's
a left-hander. All you gotta do is force him right.
Through the entire series, he had at least 10 points in the paint every game.
But Brunson was the only consistent player for the New York Knicks.
Defense, garbage.
He was the only consistent player on their team. That's
exactly. Of course.
The only consistent player on the team.
That's why I only talked about him. He consistently tore their ass up. They had no answer for him. He came in the paint. He shot multiple K's in Bam's face. Bam didn't even jump to contest.
I agree.
Let me be honest with you.
So what do you think he's going to do?
RJ Barrett did not do nothing in that series. RJ Barrett was a first half player for the Knicks. Julius Randle didn't show up. John stayed in foul trouble as usual.
Unplayable.
Emmanuel quickly was gone. And
Jalen Brunson.
Hold on, he was Evan Fournier was unplayable. And then you had the reason why the Knicks got to a Game 7 because Jalen Brunson was averaging 30.
Exactly.
That's it. But that's one person.
That's one person. Jalen ain't gonna come in here and put up 30 points almost every single game.
That's one guy. That's only one person, though, bro. You can't say the whole defense was trash.
What you just said, one person took in the Game 7, but it's not one person. You got Smart. You got Brown. I mean, come on, man. You got Brogdon.
Let's keep it a buck. I don't know what the hype is with Marcus Smart because Marcus Smart made the Defensive Player of the Year look like a piece of shit. He really did. He did. He made the Defensive Player of the Year look like a piece of shit because all he do is flop. I don't think his game is like that. I don't think his offensive game is like that.
That's smart. That's IQ.
And I'm gonna be completely honest. If Marcus Smart is not on the Boston Celtics, we will not know who Marcus Smart is if he was on another team. That's a fact.
The same way you try to say I'm shortchanging these teams, I think you're shortchanging the Heat in the sense that they're not the Knicks, for one.
Oh, no.
They're not the Knicks.
Again, I called this game yesterday. What did I say? It's going to go 6 or 7 games. I don't disrespect this team. I didn't say we was going to dog walk Miami like you sitting here saying you going to dog walk the Nuggets.
Here we go.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets win 4-1.
The way that you talk, I don't see how you can even in the same breath turn around and say it's going 6 or 7. The way that you're talking, you sound like somebody. You sound like me. You sound like you're saying this is going to be a sweep or a 5.
What did I just say? The role players. If the games go back and forth through the entire game, it could possibly go overtime, and it's going to be a lot of back and forth. That's what I just said.
I hear what you're saying. I hear your synopsis. Sir. But what the details of the story is that you don't sound like somebody that's convinced that this team outside of Jimmy Butler can score on you all. That's what you're not convinced of.
No, not consistently. Not consistently. Who else is scoring consistently?
Then drop it. Hold your balls and call it how you want to call it. Call it 4.
I just did. We're going to take it.
I'm confused. Bam has been consistent that whole series. I'm confused.
7 games is too much if you think that nobody else can score on you besides Jimmy.
20 points that whole series.
7 games is too much. Call it how you see it. Call it 4-1. That's how I call it. I'm calling it 4-1. I'm realistic.
I'm realistic. I know Miami's going to win at least 2, maybe 3 of those games.
Not
I'm
the way
being realistic here.
The way you talk, they don't stand a chance on offense to score outside of Jimmy Butler consistently enough, which they had trouble with all season. Me personally, I can see Boston winning in 5.
In all the games versus the Knicks, Bam Adebayo was in double figures.
No,
It
I
was
said
close
over
to
20.
20 with 16, 15, 17, 23, 18, and 23. That's consistency for me.
Over 20 most of the games against the Knicks.
Yeah, but I like the fact that if you look at it,
guard him. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the Knicks didn't have no dominant type of defender on him at all. That's what I'm saying. Like
I just feel like you sound like Ed with the Boston Celtics at this point.
No, not fully, because I'm not saying we're dog walking Miami. I'm not saying that we're going to beat them in 4 or 5 games. I'm being realistic, but what I'm not going to do is sit here and hear people say like and talk as if the Boston Celtics don't have nobody and don't have a bench, don't have defense, can't transition.
No, we're not saying that.
But because the Boston time and time again, they can do all 5 of those things.
The way that you're talking about Miami, in the sense that they can't really score and they have defensive troubles, which we all know. And this matchup, and the NBA is all about matchups. This matchup on paper seems like a bad matchup for Miami. I would call it 4-1 personally. I can see them double teaming Jimmy the whole series and daring anybody else to beat him. I can see that happening in the whole series. You dare Adebayo to beat you.
Yeah, but Mazzulla.
That's literally what I was just saying.
But Ed, you got to think about it.
Nobody can defend here.
This AU don't have a Mazzulla that has been really dumb of a coach in the series.
That's true too.
Mazzulla has been really dumb of a coach when it comes to things. So when it comes down to doubling Jimmy Butler, I don't see Mazzulla doing it because he's just that dumb, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see him doubling Adebayo.
Yeah, he's going to double Bam. It did not double Jimmy. That's what Mazzulla will really do.
But honestly, if they can,
I'm gonna give man a little bit more credit than that. I'm gonna give him slightly more credit than that. I don't give Marcus Smart enough smarts. Like, no pun intended, but he's like the second coach on the court. He's damn near one of the associate head coach, the way he barks in the huddle. So I can see him now saying, give me Jimmy or we're double teaming Jimmy. One of the two. Anybody but Jimmy Butler. And maybe after the first game. If Jimmy goes off the first game and comes out guns blazing and beat Boston on their home court, I can see that being the last game that they win because they'll just turn in and just completely just start dominating. Who you got?
Daniel said maybe the Raptors take Doc. Oh shit. I don't want Doc going to the Raptors. I don't want that.
The Raptors would take Doc. I don't know if Doc wants to go to Toronto, but the Raptors would gladly take Doc Rivers as a coach.
Yeah, but I just feel like if you don't bring Fred VanVleet back to Toronto to pair up with Siakam, I just don't know what else
I think they need
Toronto has.
I think you need a more defensive guard because they already have defensive pieces around. They can use another guard that's willing. If you could find a way to get one of these younger guards out of one of these teams, or somebody like that, or just go with a veteran. Would CP go up there with those young guys?
Nah.
Young guys on the wing, you bring Doc as the coach.
I think CP3 needs to look at a reflection in the mirror, man. I think listen. He's unhealthy when it matters.
Bringing CP3, the 76ers.
Oh, of course. It's going to be the Houston Rockets all over again.
They would still walk the ball up every time, but shit.
Huh?
They would still
walk
it
up. Him and Harden will be perfect together.
Yeah.
Nice slow offense.
Team heat. That's all I'm saying.
Defense.
Heat culture. Heat culture. That's all I'm going to say.
Heat culture.
Yep, heat culture. But I'm not taking nothing away from Boston Celtics because I feel like they are a good basketball team. They really are. They are a good basketball team, and I feel like both teams are good enough to win this series. I can't predict this series right now. I just can't between Boston and Miami. I just can't.
I think that Miami struggles to score. They struggle to score, and they may have Jimmy can only guard one of their two stars. So I think they're going to have issues. They're going to have issues trying to guard either Jalen or JT, and they're going to have issues with scoring more points if the coach is smart enough to just take the ball completely out of Jimmy Butler's hands. Make Gabe Vincent beat you. Make Max Strus and these guys beat you. Make Caleb Martin beat you off the dribble. Make these guys beat you. Make Kevin Love hit 7-8 threes a game. And see if you can die that way. If you die that way, then you die that way. But you can't die by Jimmy going out there shooting 18 to 20
It's been
threes.
games where Jimmy played, and that whole starting five was in double figures.
Yeah,
Yeah, if that
Jimmy,
starting five could be in double figures, at least like at least 10 or more.
Jimmy's
Miami
such
could
a
win some
threat.
games.
Yeah. Jimmy's such a threat on offense that you gotta put extra attention to him. And they play a more team oriented ball, but I just think that in certain moments where you need a bucket, they lack that outside of outside of Jimmy. They lack that production.
So let's get into tonight's bets, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into tonight's bets here. This is not presented by Bet Us, but this is definitely presented by FanDuel. Definitely presented by FanDuel. So we have three.
Swap out. No more Bet Us, FanDuel.
No, he didn't. We listen. If you want to use these on Bet Us, that is absolutely fine. But these are actually from FanDuel, which I'm working on getting an affiliate partnership with them. So I'm working on that as well. But if you want to use Bet Us,
keep getting plugs. Keep getting plugs.
Let me just plug it in real quick, and we could definitely go. If you want to use Bet Us, like using this right here, if you see on the screen, you could get 125% on your sports book off your first initial deposit. So you go to betus.com and you can use the promo code that's in the description, or you can use the link that's in the description for Bet Us. But this is FanDuel. If you want to use the same thing, you can. But Mac, this is all yours, buddy. I don't know which way you want to start because you got a lot of these right here, man.
So I'm gonna start left and go right.
Okay.
So in the first bet, we got Jeff Green. We got points over. So he's going to need to score over 5 points. He's been steadily coming off the bench with the second crew. He's been decent on offense. He's been better on defense. But like I said, for the plus on this bet, it's too sweet to pass up. Because I mean, he makes 3 shots and that's money. Same thing with Dennis Schroeder. Like he's been getting you anywhere from 5 to 15 points throughout this playoffs, and I'm only looking at the playoff numbers. So him getting 9 points, not exactly out of the realm. Bruce Brown over 11. I mean, he's had multiple 20-point games in the playoffs, so I feel confident in that. Caldwell Pope again. He's had a couple of really good games. He had one great game in the last series. I just expect him to come out either with the first unit or the second unit, and he's going to drive to the basket. He's going to get at least 10 looks tonight. So him going for 10 points, absolutely see it. Same thing with Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon picks up a lot of rebounds, especially on offense. He tends to just be in the right place. So him scoring 14 points, yeah, it's a long shot, but I like the long shot. Again, Jamal Murray, 1 3-pointer. Michael Porter, 1 3-pointer. Murray 4 assists. LeBron 4 assists. I mean, these are things that happen on a regular night. So I mean, by far, like I said, I've got 3 things on here that are kind of long shots. But like I said, for the plus percentage, I actually bet on this. So I bet $5 to win 300. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Now, it is a long shot, but like I said, I like to make spicy bets. I do. If you know what I mean. I don't like to just have some regular bets. Second bet. Again, this is another one that I actually bet. Austin Reeves 2 threes. Anthony Davis over 23 points. D'Angelo Russell over 15 points. Austin Reeves over 15 points. Michael Porter over 16 points. Aaron Gordon over 14 points. Like I said, a little bit of a long shot, but again, it's 100% possible with the way these teams play. That I mean, I really don't see it. It's not as big as a risk, but I mean, I personally I feel like this would be probably the one to hit. Now, you go over to the far right side. This one is it's almost a lock in my opinion. LeBron to score 15 points, Jokic to score 20, Davis to score 20, Murray to score 15. LeBron makes 1 3. Reeves makes 1 3. Jamal Murray 4 assists. LeBron 4 assists. How many games have we seen where all of these things have come true? Like it's been pretty much most of the playoffs with all of these guys have done all of these things. So again, I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary. If I'm going to say any bet today is a lock, it's going to be the far right bet.
So just to say, so you're saying the far right with LeBron James, Jokic, Davis, Murray, LeBron with
the win percentage. The win is kind of low, but it's shit. It's a win. Win is a win at the end of the day.
Exactly. So mostly these are same game parlays, ladies and gentlemen. These are same game parlays. I don't think he did any of who will win in none of these. These are just like individual players.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be honest, man. Unless you are that goddamn confident in the matchup, and I'm not. I'm just not, because it can go either way because of how these teams play. If the Nuggets offense gets hot and they run away with it, it can be their game. If the Lakers play great defense and hold them out and make them take bad shots, then the Lakers could take the way with this game. That's why I'm not going points, because more than likely it's going to be an under. But it could very well be over. And that, to me, it's too much of a what if. I like to stick with things that are consistent. That's why I didn't do under over for points, and I didn't do wins or losses for a team.
And most of these players that's on here has been consistent over the time in the playoffs. So you could definitely win with these bets here, especially with the individuals, especially the one to the far right. I think that's very, very doable to get. If you want to make your wager a little bit higher than what Mac did, hey, be my guest. You got more money to spend, hey, be my guest. We're not asking you to put in, $300, $400, but if you got it, then you got it. Listen, if you got the money to spend $300 like that, sure, be my guest.
Of this is you see how I'm running a same game parlay. When you pick the parlays, you if you don't like the Aaron Gordon pick, and instead of doing points, do rebounds for Aaron Gordon. You know what I mean? Like, and the whole sense is like, you see how I'm running the bets. You see what like how to accumulate, the plus for the bet. That really gives you the juice. So you want to find the juiciest bets you can get. Now, me, like I said, I sit there for about 2 hours and I go through and I make a bunch of bets. This isn't something I just do in 10, 15 minutes. So I do a little bit of research. I look at numbers. And the whole thing is, they said, if you got more spare time to do it, then, like I said, you can make some great bets and win. But again, this is what I'm giving you as I really think win.
That's all it is. It's free game right here.
Yeah. Especially for people who don't know how to do it or have never done it, when they just see this stuff, they get confused. But when you sit here and you break it down, you're like, I think this for this person, I think this for this person, and you argue, well, no, there's no way this person's going to get that. So then what you do is you take my bet and you edit it. You say, this person ain't going to get that. He's going to go under that. So then go and bet the under if that's how you feel. If you feel like you can bet opposite of it. You can bet opposite of all my picks. And then if you win, you can come rub it in my face. but
especially we'll love to hear your reviews of how it went if you flip-flop some moves that that you didn't just copy from Mac. We'll love to hear what y'all have to say. We'd love to hear how y'all did in the bet lineup. So if you want to put it in the comments, or you want to put it in the Discord and stuff of that nature, sure, absolutely. We'd love to hear how your results went when it comes to these parlays.
Yeah, I've won 2 of my spicy bets since I've been on here.
Hold on, what bets were those?
So it was the second day I was on, and I think that last Friday.
Okay, see. You never see people that's listening to people that's watching or watching the replay. I'm telling y'all right now, Mac know what he's talking about.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, I gotta go. I'll check you guys tomorrow. You guys, I'll be watching. I'll be watching.
All right, so Mac gotta go. That's why I had to, do the
bet and get it out the way. Wait to run the bets. I gotta go golfing. So. Check you guys later. I'm gonna go hit the course.
All right, man. See you later.
Peace. See you tomorrow.
All right. So I think it's just me and you today, my guy. It's me and you today to talk about this, man.
Let's chop it out.
Lakers Nuggets, man. We're gonna finish it out with the last 30 minutes of the show. Lakers Nuggets tonight. Lakers Nuggets tonight, game 1.
Mm-hmm.
We already know you're picking the Lakers to win this game. But how and what you're picking? I already know that you're picking the Lakers to win
this game tonight. This is a spicy night because this, they just saw Golden State lose their first game, and they don't want to fall in that same hole. They know the psychological edge that will give LeBron. I think their home crowd is going to be just raging. You feel me? They're going to be raging, especially off of the last 4 or 5. You know what I mean? We've knocked them out this round the last 4 or 5 times they've been here, so they're definitely going to be full throat tonight. So I think that if LeBron can come out hot, LeBron can come up with the same mentality that can't nobody on his team guard me, which technically can't nobody on that team guard him in an individual standpoint. I think that, given our defensive strategies in most games and the way that we can adjust, I think that we possibly could come up with this game. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lakers lose tonight. I wouldn't.
So are you taking the Denver Nuggets tonight?
It's tough. I'm gonna stick with my boys. If it's close, I think I stick with us in a close matchup. Obviously, if it gets a little too out of hand, then the crowd gets behind them and stuff like that. And I think it'll be over with. But hey, that's the way it goes on road games anyway. But LeBron has a good track record on the road. He has a good track record in game 1s, and I think that the Lakers can pull it out tonight. I think can pull it out tonight. I'll even give you a score 105-100. I think about a 4 or 5 point game. Somewhere in that area where it gets late and LeBron is able to take over in a sense that how he usually does, just head down, get a layup.
So looking at the prediction of this game, the Nuggets have lost all 7 playoff series against the Lakers in their history, including inside the bubble back in 2020. They meet for the 4th time in the Western Conference Finals beginning tonight, and the Denver Nuggets are the NBA's best 40-7 at home and have won all 6 of their playoff games at Ball Arena.
Yeah.
So technically, both teams are undefeated at home.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really interesting to watch here.
It's gonna be tough. Honestly, as a Laker fan, it's gonna be tough to get a win tonight. I think that maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we lost, but I'm picking us to win. But I think that the more likely game that I would guarantee a Laker win would be game 2, since they wouldn't want to go down 0-2 going back home. I think that the Lakers will fight tooth and nail to try to steal a road game. That's what we're all about. We're all about stealing one and then winning our own home games. We steal one, and then we just take it from there. We win our 3 home games, we go on to the next round.
So according to ESPN, they said that they didn't want to talk about, Denver's 8-25 record against the Lakers in the playoffs. And the Lakers have gone to win the NBA championship each time they have beaten the Nuggets in the finals of the Western Conference. That was back in 1985, 2009, and 2020.
Yep.
So that's the 3 years that the Denver Nuggets could not beat the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
I just think that at the end of the day, this is going to be, as far as the overall series, this is just a bad match. There's another bad matchup for another team against the Lakers. Across the board, the matchups just aren't really in their favor. I like Jokic, but I think that our defense is built to stop somebody like that or neuter him to a point where he's not completely dominating the game. He's going to get his, but we can't let these other players get theirs. And that's how that's his biggest impact on the team. It's not his scoring. His scoring has been his scoring, but that's not the way he impacts the game. It impacts that team the most. It's through his passing. It's through the hockey assists. Just everything. His unselfishness is what really creates offense for this team. And I think that we have so many defenders off ball and so many other just random defenders that we play a team defense. And it's just like, it's going to be hard to beat us on just regular back cuts and just silly shit. Like, fucking
But
Golden State.
we just have to see how things are going to turn out because I mean, like I said, I think that's a big. I think both teams. I think both teams being undefeated at home and having not losing in their arenas is a big factor. So if the Lakers can come in and take a game from Denver, especially no matter if it's game one or it doesn't matter, even a game in a series, period.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard for Denver to bounce back from those upsetting. Not even I don't think they will be upsetting losses, but they will be lost. Like, damn, we really lost at home, and let's see how they could overcome that.
Because they're role players
from those losses, because we saw the Lakers do it already on the road when they overcome losses.
Our role players are just more. They're more comfortable on the road. Our role players are just a little bit more comfortable on the road than their role players are on the road. Their role players tend to not really show up on the road too much. Like, it's just a fact. And look at their road games. Look how many they won. So I just don't see them. I just don't see them being able to, you know what I mean, sustain it when it gets to the road. Or at home, Bruce Brown and KCP and the other Braun kid coming off the bench and Jeff Green, they're gonna be juiced up. They're gonna be juiced up at home for sure. But I just think that we play a team defense, we play a team-oriented defense. We don't take dumb shots, we don't take bad shots. We live below the free throw line. We try to get you in foul trouble. They don't really have much rim protection.
I just think it's a good matchup in my when it comes to how the teams play. I think it's a good matchup. I just feel like, right now, the Lakers are the overall team right now, but I'm not going to underestimate Denver here. I think it's going to be this. I think it's going to be the same score, but reverse. I think it's going to be reverse. I think it's going to be 105, 100 Denver in game one. I wouldn't if the Lakers win. I'm not surprised if the Lakers win because we have saw the Lakers go on the road and win some pivotal games that they needed to. Mm-hmm. But outside of the game 5 against the Warriors, but which I had the Lakers winning that game and they kind of disappointed, but I knew they was going to win game 6.
That would have been 3 straight though. That would have been spicy. Winning 3 straight.
I wouldn't have been surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised.
They got champions on their team. They got people that aren't.
You can have champions on your team, but you can be beat anywhere, anytime, any place.
As we showed game 1.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. But I'm gonna pick. As far as picking this series, it's really going to come down to after game 4 that I have to pick a series. That's just for me because just from watching Denver and watching LA, and how dominant they were dominant in the games that they won, but I was kind of suspect for both teams and how the games that they lost. So it's just you've seen both teams get blown out in their series.
Yeah.
So I really can't. It got to be, or I could say, you know what? Not game 4. I say after game 3. Let's see who has the upper hand by game 3. Because the first time you play each other is going to be close. So to me, it's going to be close. 105, 100.
Tonight's going to be close. I just want to see the adjustments that each team can make after tonight. The adjustments that each team make after tonight, or even at halftime, depending on what the score is, can really dictate what the rest of the series. Because at the end of the day, each team has a limited amount of options to go to as far as adjustments. Like they have adjustments that can be made, but I think that we have more. But I mean, that's just me as a Laker fan. But it is what it is. I think that tonight is going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if we lost, but I wouldn't be shocked if we won by 4 or 5 points. Just go in and steal one.
In the matchup, and the thing about it, if you look at the matchup predictor on ESPN, it's saying that, Denver has a 57.9% to win this game over 42.1%. I think that's pretty even, in my opinion. It's not really off the scale. When it comes to the leaders, Jokic is averaging 24.5 in the playoffs. He's shooting 63% because he's getting those in the paint type of scores.
Yeah, he's
Austin Reeves is shooting 52% from the field. So Austin Reeves has been very effective for the Lakers.
We are really going to matchup hunt this team, and between trying to attack Michael Porter Jr. and attacking Jamal Murray on defense, I think it's going to be a lot of matchup hunting from LeBron and from our guards. Like D'Angelo has been cooking smaller guards all series, all last series for sure, and towards the end of the Grizzlies series, he's been turned up offensively, and I just think that our pace is going to really impact them in the sense of their big men not being able to get back. There is no rim protection once we get past the initial defender. That's just a fact. They don't play DeAndre Jordan enough. They don't play Thomas Bryant enough. And Aaron Gordon he's athletic, but he's
Which
not.
I don't understand though. Now that the Lakers have length, why you not play those guys? And for me, I feel like you have to give some minutes to Jordan defensively. You gotta give some minutes to Thomas Bryant defensively because you have big men that could come in for the Lakers. Yeah. It's like Anthony Davis. We know what he's capable of. I still think he's made of glass in some way, somehow. But I'm not gonna say he's soft. I'm not gonna say that. But what I'm gonna say, you're gonna have to play one of those guys to help out defensively against Jokic. Because if you want to look at it, Jokic is slow up the court. And when Anthony Davis feel like he's getting going, he's going to run the floor.
He's going to run the floor. I mean, that's just a given. Like at the end of the day, LeBron's going to push the pace. Reeves is going to push the pace. Freaking Dennis Schroeder is going to push the pace. And we're just trying to get layups. And I think that this team is very susceptible, as they've been all year, to giving up layups. And we thrive on just getting layups and getting fouled. We're going to live below the free throw line as we've been doing all season. Like, we're not a 3-point shooting team. We're okay now, but we're not great. We're not jacking a bunch of threes either. So we know the game. We're trying to get below the free throw line, trying to get layups.
So if you had that one player that has a breakout game one, who would be the players on Denver, and who would be the player on the Lakers that would have a breakout game in this game one?
I think in game one we could see a combination of either Reeves, who's been breaking out all playoffs, so it's not really a shock, and Lonnie Walker coming off the bench. More faster paced guards pushing the pace, you know what I mean, and just really attacking and matchup hunting their matchup, because KCP can only guard only one or two of them. But he only can guard one person. And Porter Jr. is not there defensively, and they don't start Brown. But I think on the Nuggets, somebody that can really, you know what I mean, depending on the matchup and depending on how he's guarding, Aaron Gordon can have a big game. If he's hitting his shots and we have to really contest that and we have to stretch out our defense, I think he can have an impactful game. And I think that Bruce Brown also, because even though he plays a lot bigger than what he is, he's still a smaller guard that can attack off the dribble if you give him too much space. And he can hit an open shot when need be. I think that those two are highly susceptible to having good games, you know what I mean, either between coming off the bench or just, you know what I mean, and how they're being guarded. Because Aaron Gordon, you know what I mean, the Suns to start with, they kind of went and didn't guard him, you know, so, and he killed them game one, and he killed them the rest of the games. It was just like they had to overextend their defense, which gave the open lane for Jokic to just eat in the middle all game. Durant couldn't really double down. Nobody could really double down off of that. And he's a great passer, so you have to really pay attention. You have to bring the double team smart. And if you look at the tape from the 4 games, it's like that's what you have to do. You have to, from the 4 games we played this year, we brought the double team smartly, and we just live with the results. We split 2-2, so it's gonna be a good matchup. I still am resided in 4-1, but that's me.
For me, I'm going to say for the Lakers, I think Hachimura has a better series. I think he struggled in the Warriors series a little bit. He had a great round one against Memphis. I think he bounced back. I think he'll be the one that'll come off the bench and give you them points, even though Lonnie Walker's going to be in that rotation. But I do like Hachimura to bounce back and be that spark plug for game one. Now for Denver, to me, I'm gonna say KCP. I'm gonna say Caldwell Pope. I think he has a vendetta against the Lakers. I think he wants to beat the Lakers in game one. You know, he used to be a Laker a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And I think he loves this matchup. But I think he's going to be the spark plug. If he gets out to an early start like he did in that game 6 in Phoenix, he's going to have a hot day. He's going to have a hot game.
We just can't.
He got out to a fast start. But I don't see it happening, but I see him being one of those sparks. If Porter ain't going, if Jamal Murray ain't going, I think he's going to be that one to step up offensively. In my opinion. D'Angelo Russell, I can say him too, But sometimes I'll be nervous about picking him as a spark plug. Like
Yeah.
because sometimes you see him, he can't miss the mid-range shot. And then the next game, he's missing all his mid-range shots.
Yeah.
So like I'm kind of nervous, but I think Hachimura, he gives you a better chance of being a spark because he could post up, he could shoot the three, and he could defend and play and rebound.
Yeah.
So you get a more all-around player to give you a spark plug on both sides, and you do with a D'Angelo Russell. To me, it's kind of a liability on the defensive side.
Yeah, it's all about who's guarding, really, because hopefully you just keep him off of Murray. If they can keep him off of Murray and not have Murray put him in two-man game with Jokic, where it'll just be a killer, I think that we could survive. I think that D'Lo, I think his greatest strength this series will be his change of pace and his ability to get to the cup with layups. Because he at the end of the day his change of pace and the fact that he's a legit 6'6", 6'7" guard, he can get layups. So it's like we'll just see.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game. So we kind of split our decisions here. Of course, Ed did say that he's going to pick the Lakers tonight, but he would not be surprised if Denver wins tonight. I said Denver will win tonight. We both said the same scores, but we flip-flopped at 105-100. But at the same time, I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers win this game 105-100. So that's how I have it. Like I can't.
Short humble today. I'm humble today because the game's today. I'm gonna be humble.
So you're more humble today than you was yesterday. You know what, man?
I'm 4-1, but I'm 4-1 humbly. I'm a humble 4-1. All the games competitive, all the games close, but I think that the LeBron factor in a lot of these late game situations will take over. So
I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I just can't see the Lakers in 4-1. I mean, y'all, the Grizzlies went to 6 games with y'all, right?
Yeah.
And then the Warriors went 6 games with y'all.
Yeah.
I can't see y'all winning in 5 games yet, man. I can't. I just personally just can't see it. That's why I said after the 3rd game and how games are going, that's going to determine the series for me. That's I want to say I can't. I have not seen any series in this playoffs they won in 5 games outside of the Sixers beating the Brooklyn Nets in 4. I have not seen any other team. Oh no, I'm wrong. Miami did it. Miami beat Milwaukee in 5. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's possible.
Culture, baby. He culture. Let's go.
You just got on, man. You just got on the bandwagon.
You know what? And you know, I am a proud bandwagon, and I can admit that. I am a proud
bandwagon. It's space.
No, but you know what? Though? I'm not going to be really a bandwagon though, because I'm really going to be a Heat fan next season. I really am. Even through I'm not one. Anybody can tell you, Dominique 5, Mo Green, Keith, they know I rock with my team to the end of time. But the Sixers, enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. So I had to let it go. I had to let it go. Mo Green said Lakers +6 under 222. I wish he was okay, Mo. If you still here. Now, man, I'm not gonna even do it because Mac's not here. So I'm gonna send you the screenshots of what we put as far as the bets up as well. But I like I said, I just can't see the Lakers winning in 5 games just yet. I gotta see how these games go.
Crazy, bro. The matchup is gonna be real crazy.
If game 3 looks really bad for Denver, I probably can say it. I probably can say it.
The Lakers splitting on these first 2. Can we agree? I think the Lakers will take one of these games. It will either be game 1 or game 2. We're going to take one of these games.
And I think Denver's going to at least take 1 in LA. Yeah. At least 1. I will not say 2. They're going to at least take 1. At least take 1. I don't know what game it would be, but it's going to be a game when at least take 1 game.
Their role players are so hit or miss on the road. It's like it's hard to trust them. It's hard to trust anybody outside of Jokic and Murray on the road. It's hard for me to trust them.
I understand that, but I feel like I think they built confidence. And I understand it's the Phoenix Suns, but they have not. But the Nuggets have not won in that building, even in the regular season.
Yeah,
they have not won in the regular season, and they have not won in the playoffs until that game 6.
Yeah,
so I think that kind of builds confidence. Like, damn, we got one on the road, and I think the Nuggets was the only team that had a game 6 on the road. Out of this round, second round.
They were home because they were the home team. They had home court advantage. So yeah. They lost the 2 on the road. I think they didn't lose 2 on the road to the Nuggets though. Meant the Warriors, the Wolves. And they only lost 1.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they
they
beat
only
them at
lost
home.
1 on the road.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean, they could win on the road, but we got to see if they're going to come with that same energy because when the Lakers are home, right?
yeah.
The Lakers
It's
come
nice.
and they start really fast, and when they start really fast, they don't look back.
Yeah,
They don't
they're
look back.
good runners for sure. The thing with the Lakers, but they also have the ability to come back late. They've shown they had multiple 15-point comebacks against the Grizzlies. I believe, or was it 10 or 15 points against the Grizzlies? So we have the ability to come back. We have the ability to fight back because we play defense. So it's like, as long as we can get stops, we can get consecutive stops and get good shots, we'll always have a chance in any game. But it's really about who's going to have the ability to get stops on the other team. Because both of our offenses are well tuned at this point. We already know what we want to do. So it's just really about who can get stops when it really matters. I
Agreed.
think we have a higher probability of getting stops.
It's really not too much to really say because we talked about it for almost an hour and a half yesterday. Almost. Not actually an hour and a half, but almost an hour and a half. It wasn't actually an hour and a half, but
We
it
make
was
sure we,
like an hour and like 10 minutes. We
we
talked
can
about.
make sure we get out of here on time today. That's all it is. I'm gonna
I
keep
mean,
it
I mean,
high.
listen. What else can we really say about this game? I mean, this game coming at 8:30. I will be doing the game. I will be doing the play-by-play for this game. So
I'm
Laker Nation, come up in here and start trolling me. Come on,
about
Laker Nation. Come on, Laker Nation. Come up in here and troll me. Come
I
on.
mean, win or lose, whether we win or lose, and I'll be there.
Yeah, win or lose, we're gonna be there because I like to troll. I like to get the entertainment going when it comes to the play-by-plays and stuff of that nature. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely be in the building for that at 8:30 tonight. So definitely tune in for that.
Uh-huh.
And if you have to predict Heat in Boston, I think you picked Boston if I'm not mistaken. But
I like
how
Boston.
Boston in what though?
I like Boston. See, I was trying to get Matt to say Boston in 5, but I think Boston in 6. I think that the overtime, I think Miami is just going to struggle to score against this team. I think they're going to really struggle to score against the team because they even struggled to score a lot of points against the Knicks. So as far as they won those games, they beat them, but they weren't really like super high scoring affairs. They struggle to score at times. And I think they're going to really struggle in this series because they have the Celtics just have multiple good defenders. They have multiple good backline defenders as well. So it's like it's going to be a real struggle for Miami to score this series. I can see them losing 4-2.
Heat culture, baby. Heat culture, baby. Heat in 7. Calling it.
I would love to rematch Lakers versus Heat so we can really put it into this. It was the bubble talk and all this other crap. Let's make it a true bubble. Let's make it a true bubble 2023 experience. Let's have the Lakers versus the Heat in the finals, and we can do it.
But this is why I feel like I want the Heat to win in 7, but it's a bigger storyline here with Boston and LA.
Yeah,
that's the bigger storyline because y'all both have 17 championships.
The NBA wants that. That's what the NBA wants. The NBA wants Lakers, Celtics. I don't care who's beating up 1 seed. I don't care what the other team, who's doing MVP, X, Y, Z, it doesn't matter. The NBA wants Lakers versus Celtics. If they could have that in the perfect world, they would take that.
Exactly.
They don't want Denver
I
to
agree. I agree. I don't want to. For me, if I want to be a troll, I'll say Denver and Miami, but ain't nobody gonna watch that. Ain't nobody gonna watch it. Nobody's gonna watch that, bro. They just not. Knowing me, I probably wouldn't watch it because I feel like Miami is entertaining to watch, even though they got the players that they have. They entertaining to watch. But Denver is nothing entertaining about them. It's nothing entertaining about Denver. It's just not.
It's nothing. I'm not entertained by the shit that he does. The shit that they do. I'm just not. I'm sorry. The shit that they do is not entertaining. It's really not. It's blah. It's a couple of little flashy passes here and there, but it's supposed to be blah.
That's why I'm kind of mad that Denver is in the Western Conference Finals because I did not want to see because Denver games are boring. The Lakers is going to make this game entertaining. They are. They're going to make this game definitely entertaining. So I'm looking forward to these Eastern and Western Conference Finals, though. I'm looking forward to both of them. I say Lakers, Miami in the championship. I'm calling it. Lakers, Miami in the championship.
So you picking Lakers versus Nuggets then?
Listen, I want. Oh no. I'm saying it as far as like you talk about that bubble. It made me think about it.
Yeah.
It made me think about it. But I told you, I'll make my prediction of who win the series after Game 3. That's really what I'm gonna do. Is this LeBron last year in LA? That's the only way the Lakers win the chip for a storyline. I don't think that's it. But you know what though? Let me say this. Because that's a good idea. I heard about this on First Take yesterday. I think we talked about it a little bit on last show, but I didn't really get too deep into it. So when it came down to LeBron James of most impressive NBA Finals win, a lot of people will say that, you know, that Cleveland Cavaliers championship, after beating the Golden State Warriors, being down 3-1, coming back,
that's the most impressive.
That was the most impressive. But for me, I think that narrative is going to change if they win the championship this year. And I'm going to tell you why. Because coming into this season, who would ever think the Lakers would be in the Western Conference Finals? That's one. Number two.
I hate the fact that they said these trades. I hate the fact that they say, well, that was before the trades. That motherfucker, nobody thought that we were going to win the West after the trades either. Nobody thought that we were going to make the playoffs after those trades.
And that's what I was getting to. Number two, when they made the trades at the trade deadline, that changed the whole aspect of the Lakers. They traded for players that bought into Darvin system,
right?
That actually fit the system. Now, if you look at it on paper and you look at the trade deadline and what the Lakers made, you're like, what the hell are the Lakers are doing? Who are these guys? But now you know who these guys are. You understand why the Lakers made the trades that they made the trades.
Right.
And number three, they had to go into a play-in. They had to come down from 15 against Minnesota, come back and win that game, get in, then you beat a Grizzlies, you beat the defending champions, and you're in your Western Conference Finals. So if you win the Western Conference Finals against the number one team in the West, as far as seeding go,
that's golden already.
That's going to be impressive of a championship for LeBron James than it is when he beat the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals being down 3-1. Because the reason why I say that is because if you look at that Golden State team, Iguodala was out, Andrew Bogut was hurt. They had a lot of I don't know. I don't know if Klay Thompson was playing in that finals. He was playing in that finals, but for me, I feel like I understand they came back from 3-1, but there was a lot of things going on in Golden State injury-wise, while a lot of players wasn't available during those last 3 games. Draymond Green got suspended in Game 5.
Yeah.
So I'm not making no excuse
about the year before too, though. You know,
I'm not making no excuse for that. Because we all know that's gonna be one of the greatest plays in NBA history is that chase down block.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, absolutely. But I feel like this season, if the Los Angeles Lakers win the championship, this will be the most impressive championship out of the 4 from LeBron James.
Yeah, I can agree.
Just because of the adversity of what happened last year, trading Russell Westbrook, having all these issues, having so much drama and negativity, and then you got an up and coming rising star in Austin Reeves that you found. You trade for D'Angelo Russell where he was drafted at from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
They did the right moves to get LeBron that championship. They finally put a real supporting cast around him, because even in Cleveland, he didn't have that. He had a supporting cast, but it wasn't better than this one.
No.
So I think that would be a storyline of him having an impressive finals and them trying to get an 18th championship between Boston and LA. They would be the 2.
Yeah.
So what would you think this would be the impressive win for LeBron James if they win it?
I think it overall wise, for sure. I think the 3-1 comeback can't be ignored, honestly, because that was the first time in history that happened. No team has ever came back from down 3-1 to win the finals. So it's like it's kind of hard not to shortchange that. But as a Laker fan, I think that this would be one of the most impressive because of the position that we were in, the narrative behind the team in the beginning of the season, the narrative after the trade deadline, the narrative going into the playoffs even still. So it was like nobody had us coming out of – they had us winning the play-in, They didn't have us beating Memphis. You know what I mean? You beat Memphis, you turn around, beat the champs, then you beat the number 1 seed. I think even making the finals in itself will be an accomplishment coming from where they are. But you know, the LeBron angle of it all is that if it's not a championship, then it means nothing. So LeBron, if you get to the finals, you have to win the championship as well too. But I think that making the finals alone, making the finals alone is a great accomplishment given what he started with and the team that they have overall. It's still not a perfect team, but I think that they can win.
And that's absolutely true too, Anthony Price. They already stated, the Laker organization already stated, if any players that have been traded at the trade deadline that started out with the season will get a ring for the Los Angeles Lakers. So if the Lakers win it, Westbrook and Patrick Beverley will finally get a ring. Unfortunately, well, that's how the Lakers are doing it. But you know what? Though? I feel like that's respect because, you know, sometimes you just don't. I mean, we heard of Russell Westbrook.
I didn't think Pat Bev was getting traded though. Me personally,
I wasn't expecting Bev to be traded either. Though
I wasn't expecting Bev to be traded because even though his numbers were what they were, I think he brought a different dynamic to the team as far as just being a dog and just not laying down. And it kind of emboldened some of our younger players. And I think that Reeves has become a better player for it. You feel me? And I think that, you know what I mean? It's worked out. But I mean, shit. It worked out for the best because we have new players and they worked out.
I just think defensively he would have been, you know, guard play defensively. I think it would have been, you know, smart to do that.
Yeah, you can never have too many of those type of players.
Right.
So it's always good. He doesn't take a lot of dumb shots. You know, he plays within the offense. He can be a little bit, you know what I mean, comical sometimes and a bit extra, but shit, I like it. I like this shit. Fuck it.
But there you have it, guys. There you have it. Episode 22 is in the books. Yep. Like I said, I'll be live today at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for Lakers and Nuggets game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. I will definitely be in the building for that. I have a lot of work to do today because right after this, I have to set up for episode 18 of Nothing But Raiders podcast. Episode 19, that will be on my other channel, which is the Spotlight Football Talk, where I talk all football over there. So make sure y'all check that out at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Go to SeatGeek.com and use that promo code DHopkins. Y'all see all the NFL schedules is out now. So if you want to get to a game, if you want to get to a NBA Finals game, or you want to go to a live game, use that promo code DHopkins to get your first $20 off on your first purchase on SeatGeek.com. And don't forget to go to BetUs.com to get your 125% sportsbook bonus on the initial deposit using the link in the description there. Nothing But Heat's podcast. You know what? I might have to make one. Nothing But Heat podcast. You know what? Anthony Price, you're right on point with that, brother. Nothing But Heat podcast. You damn right.
Lord.
Watch. I'm telling you, when I set up my new podcast room, it's gonna be a Raiders logo and a Heat logo.
Keep working, bro. Keep working, keep grinding. That's all I can say. Keep developing the craft. If that's what you need to do, get all your Miami sheet together.
I already got stuff in my. I even got stuff in my Fanatics website cart. I got Jimmy Butler's jersey, and I got some hats that I want to get. So yeah, it's going down. It's going down. I might get some memorabilia for the Heat. I'm really going all in. I'm all in.
Oh man,
I'm all in.
I ain't mad at it.
But thank y'all for tuning in to another episode, man. We are definitely out of here. I will see y'all at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's the Darion Hopkins Show. We'll be back same time, same place, and y'all know where to find us right here on YouTube, Facebook, and on probably I'm gonna start going live on Twitter as well too. So I'll see about that. But we out of here, y'all. Peace, love, and blessings, and we see y'all tomorrow for episode 23. We out.